Hello and welcome to another edition of Ignite Your Ultimate Success podcast. And I am joined by Mr. Brad Davis, Trainer HQ Coach Extraordinaire. How are you, Bradley?
I'm good. I'm going well. Thank you, sir. Excited to be here.
They got the two Bs, haven't they, today? The double Bs.
B1 and B2.
Oh,
Who's
we
B1?
know it. Rocket. Mate, would you like to be today?
Yeah, 100%.
I'll give you the honours.
I'm happy with that.
Yep.
You,
And
sir.
I'll be B2.
Thank you.
All right. So today, exciting chat because we've got, not only us, me and you've experienced this, but we've got a bucket load of our clients at Trainer HQ who have now moved to the next stage in business where they are taking on a trainer, starting to leverage, starting to build a team and so forth. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Yep. And what we've had the discussion with many of them about is the concept of should the business owner take full responsibility for the selling of the PT sessions, or should the trainers do it, or how should that sort of lay out? So today what we're going to do is me and you are going to chat a bit about that, and we're going to sort of share a few of our experiences. So, mate, I guess first things first, look, what is your first sort of opinion on it, and from what you've observed from all the clients you coach, what do you think have you seen working well?
So that's a really good concept and it's a really good question. I'm excited to dive in and break it down. There's multiple ways to do it. That's what I've learnt over my journey. There's multiple ways to do it. We have clients in THQ that are doing different ways and different methods at BDPT. So at BDPT, we've got 9 coaches.
9 coaches, yep.
Some of those guys want to sell. Some of those guys wanted to sell. They wanted to learn about it. They wanted to be better. They wanted to drive their business. They're subcontractors, so they wanted to drive their business. Other guys at BDPT, they're not interested in it. They don't want to sell. They're happy rocking up to the gym, doing their sessions, and then going home. That's just what they enjoy doing. So we actually found that we have 2 types of personalities and 2 types of people, and we found that when we tried to push people to sell that didn't want to sell, it wasn't really having a positive outcome. When we taught people that wanted to learn, that wanted to sell, when we started coaching them on it, it really had quite a positive outcome. So, I mean, in summary, there's more to unpack here, but in summary at BDPT, we've got different personality types, different people, some wanting to sell, some not wanting to sell. So we coach the people that want to be coached, and we allow the PTs that want to come and just PTs to do exactly that.
Yeah, gotcha. Makes 100% sense. And one thing you said, which really stood out for me, was the type of person that turns up. A lot of them who start to work for somebody else, typically, and this is I'm generalizing the profile, but it's typically the person who doesn't want to run their own business. They're the person who they don't want to pay a gym rent. They see they think of the concept of paying $350 a week as overwhelming. They're the type of person who doesn't really have a lead gen strategy, or maybe that's skilled in sales, and therefore consequently, when you're starting to build a team of trainers, they're the type of ideal people you can look for, right?
Yeah.
So then you go, all right, well, if these people fit into that category, am I trying to force them into becoming suddenly a salesperson when they've stuck their hand up right from the beginning to say it's probably not my jam anyway?
Yeah.
And within that, so, the next part is to go, well, hold on, there may be some people, like you said at BDPT, you've had some of the trainers who have done that. We had the same thing at Peak Physique. So when we built our team of trainers, I took care of probably 80% of the sales. And then I had, probably 2, maybe 3 over the years of other trainers who had expressed interest in it and had some talent or some skill and so forth. And therefore, consequently, that load got shared. But ultimately, what it meant is that I wasn't responsible for 100% of it. I was responsible for a large portion of it. But, that part there, can we shed some light on, what we typically do, the conversation we might have with typical Trainer HQ clients when they're going through this process?
Yeah, so when they start building a team, I'm just writing down a couple of names of my clients at THQ that have gone through this process, and I think a conversation that comes up at the start is, okay, what do you need this person to be doing? What is the most important thing you need this person to be doing? I'm looking at these names, and a lot of the time to start off, it's you just want to get them comfortable into a personal training role. You just want them to retain clients. So if you're signing up clients, if you're signing up potential clients, generating the lead, taking them through that system and building your business, all you want your new coach to do is train that client to a very high standard so that they love the experience, they have nothing but great things to say about it, and they want to stay on board. Client retention is important.
Turn up and do a bloody great job.
Yep. Once they get comfortable at that stage, you discover that your client retention is excellent. You discover that, things are moving forward really well. I'm not sure what that time frame would be. It might be 3 months. It might be 6 months. It might be who knows. But
depending upon the person.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And depending on the stage of the business, probably a couple of things. I believe that the conversation might be had down the track, and you might say, hey, things are doing really well. Were you interested in moving forward and maybe generating your own leads and making your own sales? So I believe that the conversation, to answer your question, the conversation that happens at the very start is, okay, what do you need this trainer to be doing? Michael Stewart, based down in New South Wales, he comes into mind right now. He's just brought a trainer on board, and he's basically, we had that conversation, and he was getting his guy to sell straight away. So Eugene, his trainer, he was getting his trainer to sell straight away, and we had the conversation. And we decided that it's actually not necessary. We just need him to get into the gym, get comfortable with training clients. That's the most important thing right now. Yeah,
I love it. And there's a couple of bits to it. So if we explore, first of all, potentially limiting beliefs or false beliefs or things that could block people from doing it. So first things first, I'm the business owner, Brad. I run my personal training business. I bring a trainer on board. A fear or a limiting belief might be if I teach my trainer to sell and they become good at it, well, they might want to leave, right? They might not need the security and the comfort. So what's the discussion we have around that?
Exactly that. Me and Carolina North, we've had that exact discussion. If we coach our coaches to be really good and do all the things that is necessary to not only build but maintain a successful fitness business, are we just upskilling them enough for them to go and do their own thing? It's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I feel if I look back on my time at BDPT, I just always wanted to make sure my coaches were engaged and stimulated. If I was always coaching and teaching them something they were learning and the group vibe was excellent, we've got guys that have been selling for BDPT and selling for their own business for going on 2 years. They've been with us for 3+ years. So I feel like teaching them sales and teaching them how to run their own business is going to be beneficial to your business as a whole, but there needs to be more. You need to be constantly engaging, educating, stimulating their brain so that they know that there's much more to come.
Yeah. And I guess what I'm hearing too is the abundance mentality, because the reality is that when you start hiring trainers and start building your business and start scaling, somebody may leave. It could happen. I think over the years, at our peak, I had 13 trainers at Peak Physique. Over the years, I'd hired many trainers, and some people leave. It's the reality of growing a business. I had some people who were with me for 3 or 4 years and turned around and said, Brad, mate, it's been a great experience. I loved every minute of it, but I think I'm ready to go and do my thing now, and it's not up to me to control, stop them or do any of that stuff. So ultimately, you're exactly right. The abundance mentality says, well, it's now the synergistic, complementary part where we go, all right, well, if I can upskill this person A, I can upskill person B, then they're contributing, they're growing personally, they're assisting to grow our business. And I'm also getting some evidence that, hey, once again, this thing is not 100% reliant upon me, because if I'm the business owner and I want to go away for 2 weeks holiday and I'm the only person who's doing the sales, well, what happens to the sales at that point in time? There's none happening. Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's it.
I'm just agreeing with everything that you're saying, B-Rad.
So then let's say we then move over and go, all right, let's now start to educate like we've both done. We've both been in this spot before. And we know that it works, and we know that it's a possibility. We know that people aren't going to jump ship and open up next door and all that sort of stuff. Your business is not going to fall apart. Let's say what are some of the steps that we could do to help educate, as we do with some of our people at Trainer HQ, on what the process they need to do to upskill their people?
Yeah, if I understand the question correctly, it's what can we do with our coaches to make sure they stay on board?
Stay on board and also learn a process or a system to make it a win-win.
Yeah, so it basically making sure that the coach is always stimulated and educated. So it's much more than sales. It's about lead gen. It's about marketing techniques. It's about client retention. There's so many more things that your coaches can be learning about your business and their business to keep them stimulated and always working on something, always looking forward to achieving something. That's one of the main mentalities we've kind of had in BDPT. So sales was one portion of it, and we would have a sales folder, so to speak, that everyone would follow, but they would have the opportunity to personalize that folder. They could have their before and afters at the start, their client testimonials, their story, their vision of their business, their values of their business. So they could personalize this sales folder. And now sales, it became really fun for them because they could have the template that we had, but they could personalize that template. So they could fully take their sales kind of by the balls, so to speak, and just treat that whole system as their own. We're talking about sales. There's so many other things. There's lead generation as well. So there's all these lead gen techniques that we can constantly be focusing on. The way we do it at BDPT, and I've actually brought that system into our THQ clients as well, is kind of every month you want to have a real focus on one source of lead gen. So maybe it might be a small business networking. So every week you would go out and build a network or a relationship with a small business, or maybe 2 small businesses every week for 4 weeks. That takes up a month, and over that month there's going to be new learnings, there's going to be new education, new opportunities.
Love it.
The next month you can put a Dropbox in. Maybe you might have 2, 3, 4 Dropboxes in your gym, small businesses, other areas around. That's another month. That's something else, more learnings, more education, more opportunities. The next month you might do something else. You might have flyers. You might have, you might even do an internal business system like a referral system. How many of your clients can refer their friends or family to come in? So that's another month. Now we're talking about 3 months, and then you can either backtrack to that. So there's so many things on lead gen that you can work on. Then client retention comes into it. There's so many things. So I guess what I'm saying is, what we did at BDPT was just make sure that we were always educating our coaches. There was always something next that they had to be focusing on. And from their perspective, they're sitting there and they're getting this excellent education. They're enjoying the process. They're building their business. They're seeing their figures go up. They're learning. They're feeling more confident, more comfortable in business. And that's the process that we took, and that's the learnings, to answer your question, that we took at BDPT.
Love it.
And have implemented into THQ clients as well.
Yeah, so many gold nuggets in that you just spoke about. One of them, you mentioned the word a couple of times, of they're running their business, and my understanding of how you word that is they're running a business underneath the roof of your business, right? That's the philosophy, that's the concept.
Yeah, it is. And just to touch on that a little bit more, they're subcontractors. So they've got their own ABN, they've got their own Facebook page, their own Instagram page. And what we found with that is when they're running their own business, it's underneath the umbrella of our business, right? When they're running their own business as a subby, they're motivated, their name's on it, their faces on it, and they want to be doing well. We find, well, probably heading back to my trader years, you have people on an hourly rate, and no disrespect for the employee model, because I've actually got a client, Katrina Stacey, that's making that employee model work very well out of a Fitness First in New South Wales. But we found that me personally, I found that having people on an hourly rate, they didn't have that real kind of connection with their business. They weren't driving. This is just personally what I found. So, the subcontractor was building their business underneath the umbrella, and that's just the model that we went with.
Yeah, it's a great terminology, and for anyone, I think it extends to someone who's contractor, someone in an employee model or whatever, to go treat this role like it's your business, and the most successful people are going to do that. The other part I heard from you is it's more like it's a two-way street. So as the parent company building a personal training business, your job's going to be out there sourcing more leads, sourcing more clients, building the business, but at the same time, the most successful trainers that you have in your team are the ones that not only service and train the clients that you bring into the business and supply them with, but have the ability to attract new people into the company as well.
Yes.
And that's where it becomes the win-win philosophy, and the best people do that, and therefore you have an incentive-based system for that as well. And then the last thing I heard when you said about the display folder, which is amazing. I love how you got you got some old school methods in there, mate, which I really love for such a new school guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I love the display folder, and really whatever version of that. So that part right there, that's a system. And this part's for anybody listening to this going, well, I'm building my fitness business and I've got a dedicated sales process. whether you have a physical location, you can have a physical display folder in there. We've got client testimonials. We've got all that stuff to personalize it. Or you have a slide deck, Google Slides, whatever it might be that you present over an iPad or a laptop. That part's critical, because what it means is that when you do have team members that start learning this process and start to sell and so forth, well, it's not relying upon their personality. It's not relying upon their charisma. What it is dependent upon is having a really good system in place. And so therefore what happens is the display folder, the right words, the right scripting, the right questioning, or the Google Slides, whatever it might be, that's the part that assists in this process and being able to display all this. And for anyone in a fitness business, I mean, we still, we get to meet thousands of trainers every year through here at Trainer HQ. Still, I meet trainers who are having an initial consultation with somebody, whether you're hiring trainers or not, and still don't have a dedicated sales system.
Yeah.
And getting to the end of it, and I said, well, what happens when you get to talk about the price? And they go, well, I just tell them it's, it's like $75, and yeah, it might be working, but is there a best practice, a better way to do it?
Yeah. So many good things in that. And I believe it actually comes back to the mentality of, are you giving your coaches and stimulating them enough and giving them enough education that they want to stay on board? If you just say, hey guys, you've got to sell to this person, you've got to consult, go for it.
Yeah.
Make sure you
all the best.
All the best,
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, the hope plan. So that's, and they're probably thinking, well, God, I'm doing this my own. I could probably just go and do this on my own and get all the money, and just run my own business. Whereas what B-Rad is saying is, if you have a template, if you've had a script and a proven system that works, I've touched on it. The guys at BDPT were able to personalize this system to their business. But if you give them a snapshot of a successful sales folder or a slideshow presentation, it becomes much easier for them. And then they can focus on really important touch points to hit at certain parts of the sales consultation. For example, with my clients at Trainer HQ, and something that I really made sure that I got right, the first 10 to 15 minutes, and I know we touch on this in the Pathway to Profits, the first 10 to 15 minutes of a sales consultation is just connecting with that person, right? It's just making them feel comfortable because they've come into a new and possibly scary situation in place that they're not comfortable in. It's emotionally connecting with that person. It's finding out what's going on in their life right now. If they've got this slideshow presentation that they don't even have to think about that side of it now, the prices, everything, they don't need to remember everything. It's right there. You can now dive into the very important parts of a sales presentation that need to be touched on that so many fitness professionals don't do. No discredit to themselves. They're just uneducated. Yeah,
absolutely. And, ask the right questions, get people to open up, and people's most favourite thing to talk about is themselves, of course. So from there, let's say that we've got the system happening. And so I guess what we're sort of breaking it down now is maybe three different models. Model A is the business company director, owner of the PT company, takes control of 100% of the sales. So we explored a few of the pros and cons there. Obviously, if you're in control of it, you know what's happening, where the clients are moving, all the rest of it. You get to meet the clients. The other thing I found is that as our business grew and we took on more clients, part of that process, it was really nice to actually be able to meet that person on day one and take them through the process. However, the limitations are that it is 100% reliant upon you. Somebody wants to come in for a consult at 7 p.m. and you're no longer available at that time, then that may be challenging.
You want to go away on a holiday, you know that there's going to be no sales made in that time. Yep.
Absolutely. We go to the next level. We go, okay, you own a portion of it, 50% of it, 70% of it, whatever you decide that might look like, and then you handpick or you educate the right people to come through the ranks and skill them up to be able to do it. And I guess what I'd say is that's what I did. That's what you did. And for many of our clients at Trainer HQ, that's probably the most common model that we're seeing.
I would say, yep.
So we'd strongly recommend it, but it is dependent upon having a system. And if you don't have a system in place, then it's going to be challenging for anyone to do it. If we go to the next level, and this is one I find really fascinating because we have had clients move down this path as well, and that's to go, well, now what I do is I completely remove myself from doing any of the sales, and I rely upon my team to do it, or potentially an external sales consultation person or something like that. So let's chat about that for a minute, because that part I find really exciting.
Totally removing yourself from the business, and the sales is done by someone else internally.
Yeah. Now you've had an experience of doing that, moving from Western Australia over to Queensland. So I guess you sort of had to go through that process as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. And it is kind of, Jace describes it as like the pinnacle of being a business owner. If you can create a business and totally remove yourself while it still continues to run as normal but grows as well, that's kind of the pinnacle of owning a business. And there's a portion of me that massively agrees with that as well. And I've been very fortunate enough to experience that myself, and something that you just touched on, Brad, having the right people in the right places with the right systems. So the right people, the right places, the right systems is critical in this.
And we also were chatting about this earlier, and incentivizing. So let's say you do have trainers selling for you, then there is an opportunity to put in some sort of commission, compensation, incentive or something to try and excite them to want to make the sale as well.
Correct.
Yeah. And from that perspective, I guess your business, you get to decide, anyone who's putting this in place. So it might be, okay, we place a dollar value on it. So we go, okay, let's say that there was a sale made, and I figure out the lifetime value of a client, because we've got a 12-week minimum, and we know that if people are training at least once a week, we know that there's going to be a minimum investment of a certain amount of money. Therefore, I'm prepared to hand over a small portion of that. You guys had, was it $50?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
$50 for a sale. All right. So then I go, okay, so if I'm a trainer now working under BDPT or whatever organisation it is, okay, if I make 1, 2, 3 sales consults, well, there's another $150 I just made that week. Now, this is where the team extends even further, because, hey, I might sign somebody up but realise that person wants 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. I can't service that, and I hand it over to another trainer, and I've done the consult, I've made the money. So that's where the abundance mentality kicks in as well.
Absolutely. We've got another method that I'd love to touch on as well. We have a starter's fee. So if they wanted to get started with our personal training at BDPT, we have a starter's fee. So and the value add is critical here. So to get started on our personal training program, which is our tippy top shelf, they get access to training programs, nutrition programs, access to our VIP page, 24/7 guidance, support, all the value add and the value stack that we talk about in the Pathway to Profits. Get that right. The value of them starting on this may be upwards of $200, $250, $300 sometimes. So if you explain that and say, to get started with us today is just a $50 fee. The way, if you sell that correctly, and if you add value correctly and explain that correctly, we've never had any resistance. They kind of go, yep, cool, $50 is excellent value for what I receive.
Yep.
Now, going back to what you were talking about, if one of my coaches sell that potential client, that client into their business, we can just pass that $50 fee straight on to them. So Perfect. It hasn't actually cost us any money. So that's just another way to do it. And it works very streamlined in BDPT, yeah.
Great. Love it. So many options, and I'm sure we could sit here and brainstorm this all day, but we've unpacked, I guess, the 3 main models that we see. The biggest thing here, and now going back to, we're just launching our high performers guide to creating a successful business, where we showcase 30 of our top trainers that have come through the Trainer HQ program. And the statistics tells us that inside that group, over 90% of them have hired at least one trainer or more. So it's definitely one of the strategies to success. I realise it's not for everybody. However, what we can tell you firsthand is that we've both been there, done it, and we've seen multiple clients now be able to do it, start to take that first step and start to move from just solo independent trainer into what's classified as a business owner, where you have systems, you have processes, you have people that contribute to working for you, which means that you're not 100% responsible for 100% of the revenue or income. So it's a powerful model. Anyone who wants to get their hands on that high performance guide, wherever you're watching this, whether you're listening to it on Spotify, YouTube, whatever it might be, just hit us up, message us, and we'll get that across to you, that guide to you immediately. So
pure gold.
Yep. All right, anything that we need to add, or do you reckon we've got it sorted?
I think we've covered quite a bit. I think in summary, there's multiple ways to do this. There's multiple ways to make this work. I think the most important thing is, that you put the right people in the right positions, you have the right systems in place, and everybody has the right mentality. I believe that these things can move forward quite easily and
Love
quite
it,
enjoyably.
man. Love it. Mr. Brad Davis, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll be signing off for another edition of Ignite Your Ultimate Success podcast. Yeah.